The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction.
Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper.
And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God.
Guard what has been entrusted to your care. Turn away from godless chatter and the opposing ideas of what is falsely called knowledge, which some have professed and in so doing have wandered from the faith. Grace be with you.
Casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ.
See to it that no one takes you captive through hollow and deceptive philosophy, which depends on human tradition and the basic principles of this world rather than on Christ.
Hello, I'm Sean Wilburn. I'm pastor at Riverview Baptist Church here in Ripplemead, Virginia. Jefferson Christian Academy is an integral part of our ministry. To give you a little history, back in 1993, the Lord laid on my heart the burden of beginning a Christian school in Giles County. By that time, we as a church had established a strong youth program. We had an Awana program, a children's church, Sunday school ministry, and I had resisted for a number of years the beginning of a Christian school. I felt that we needed to have facilities, and I knew it would be a tremendous challenge for us, not only through the resources that it would take to begin, but the human resources that it would take to continue it. And yet God persisted in that burden. And He led me to a verse in the summer of '93. It's Psalm 111:10. That verse hangs over the entrance of JCA even today. And the verse says, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom." The fear of the Lord is the reverence for God. It's a moral reverence for who God is. We have seen in our time, in my generation, many facets in America strip away the mentioning of God. No longer can students hear the name of God in a public classroom without fear of someone intruding in and saying they have violated some principle. Separation of church and state is not in our Constitution at all, but it has been used to separate the hearing of God and about God from the ears of those students. We wanted our students to be able to hear about God. We believe that the foundation, as this verse says, is theistic or God-centered, not humanistic and man-centered as much education is. And so with that in mind, we decided to begin JCA. We've tried to major on two things. We've tried to major on a quality education, and we've also tried to major on the fact that we honor and reverence God. At this time, we'd like to invite you for a small video tour of Jefferson Christian Academy.
Can there be even the slightest doubt that our God places a high and serious premium upon the mandate to properly train and educate the children He's entrusted into our care? There's perhaps no greater responsibility or higher calling for parents than to oversee the development of their children's relationship with the God who created and loves them. The question that we must logically ask ourselves is, how are we to do that? Especially in the worldly society in which we live, a society increasingly hostile to our Christian faith. For the past 14 years, tucked away at the entrance to Big Stony Creek in Giles County, Jefferson Christian Academy has quietly sought to answer that all-important question. Let's share with you who we are, how we came to be, and why we are here.
Some of the good experiences that I've had, I'll share a couple. From a Christian perspective, we open our day with prayer, and I had one of my students raise their hand and they said, "Miss McCoskey, can we get on our knees today?" And I thought, well, that's great, to be able to do that, to have that freedom. And we offer chapel service here at JCA. And we had, after one of the pastors of Ripplemead Baptist Church leads the chapel service, and one of my students came up afterward and asked if he could be saved. So that was a wonderful experience for me. I'd never experienced that before in a classroom, or in a school educational facility. So that was wonderful.
Well, I think of one student in particular who received salvation this year, and that's just a special thing. And so it's a joy to have that happen here at school. I think it was affiliated with either chapel or a visiting ministry or missions week. And so that's also part of what we do, is have chapel and participate in missions conference and some other things that the church has going on. So to see young people come to Christ, and we see that throughout the year, is obviously a blessed thing to see and observe.
It gives me great comfort to know that my kids are going to start their day with prayer, and that it's not just in one class, but it's the foundation of throughout the whole day. So we can relate history to God, we can relate science to how that relates to salvation, and that is a great thing for me. Also, a benefit would be the class sizes are nice. That family atmosphere, so that if my daughter needs anything, the secretary's calling me, and it's almost like the secretary knows the needs also.